If you're in your 20s or early 30s and you feel like you're doing everything right with money, but your bank account says otherwise, this video is for you. I just finished a book called Breaking Free from Broke by George Kamel, and I think every young adult should read it before they lock into years of bad money habits. Not because it's some get-rich-quick scheme, but because it exposes the exact traps that keep people broke. Even the people who look like they're doing just fine. Today I'm going to walk you through the biggest takeaways that I had from this book, the one that I actually disagree with, kind of, and why I think this book could save you tens of thousands of dollars over the next decade. Hey, I'm Tyler. I'm a full-time real estate agent, and because I'm in this line of work, I see people's money's decisions up close every single day. I see the credit card balances, the car payments, the student loans, and I get to see who actually ends up buying homes and building wealth, versus those who stay stuck renting their entire lifestyle from the bank. When I first picked up this book, I honestly wasn't really expecting that much. It's just another money book, right? But this one hit a little different, especially if you're in your 20s, drowning in payments, and wondering why it feels impossible to get ahead. Here's what we're covering today: the toxic money culture that keeps you broke, the sneaky way debt steals your future, and the simple game plan to actually break out of it. Let's start here. George makes the point that being broke isn't really about how much money you make, it's about the system you're playing in. Most of us grew up in what he calls a toxic money culture, and honestly, he's not wrong. That culture tells you that everyone has a car payment, that you need a credit card to build credit, that student loans are actually good debt, and that as long as you can afford the monthly payment, you're doing just fine. Sound familiar? Well, here's the problem. When your entire financial life is built around monthly payments, you never actually own anything. You're just renting your freedom. Your income comes in and it goes right back out. And it goes to the credit cards, the car payment, the student loans, Klarna, Afterpay, and the subscriptions that you forgot you signed up for 2 years ago. Then we step back and think, well, maybe I'm just bad with money, or maybe I just need to make more of it. But the book flips that idea on its head. You're not bad with money, you're just playing a game that was designed for you to lose. Every company out there wants the exact same thing, your paycheck. And let me tell you, they are really good at getting it. Let me give you a quick example of the payment mindset George talks about. Let's say you're 25 years old and you go get yourself a nice car with a $600 a month car payment. $600 a month doesn't sound that crazy, right? People sign up for that every single day. But zoom out for a second. $600 a month is $7,200 a year. And over a 5-year loan, that's $36,000 in payments. Now imagine instead of sending that $600 per month to the car lender, you invested it every month into a simple index fund earning around 8% a year. After 10 years, you'd be sitting on roughly $110,000. And after 20 years, you're closing in on $350,000. That one car payment, that one decision equals hundreds of thousands of dollars in future wealth just out the window. That's the kind of thing this book hammers on over and over again. It's not about never enjoying anything in life. It's about realizing how much your future you're quietly selling off just to look normal right now. Another big theme in the book is that debt is not a tool. It's a trap dressed up to look like convenience. We've all heard the pitch. Use credit cards for the points, finance the furniture at 0%, just do buy now, pay later, it's only $40 a month. But what actually ends up happening is all of those little tools keep you in a constant state of almost caught up. You're always just one paycheck away from the whole thing falling apart. George says debt steals 3 things from you: your income, your options, and your peace of mind. It steals your income because every single month a chunk of it is gone before you even see it. It steals your options because maybe you've grown to hate your job, but you can't leave it since your lifestyle now depends on that exact paycheck. And it steals your peace because there's always that low-level stress humming in the background. That quiet question of, what happens if something goes wrong? In everyday life, that looks like not having $1,000 set aside for an emergency. So one flat tire suddenly turns into a full-blown crisis. It looks like avoiding your own banking app because you don't want to see the damage. We've all been there. Now, I have to be honest with you, I do agree with pretty much all of this book, but there's one chapter in particular to where I slightly disagree with George. And that's the chapter on credit cards. George and the Ramsey team take a hard stance here. No credit cards, ever. Cut them up, close the accounts, and go debit card only. And look, I actually get where they're coming from. If you struggle with impulsive spending or you treat a credit limit like it's free money, then the credit cards are not for you and you should listen to George and just stick with your debit card. But here's my take on it. If you are genuinely disciplined, and I mean pay the full balance every single month on auto pay, then credit cards aren't the enemy. Used the right way, they're actually a powerful tool, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. The first one is security. If someone skims my debit card, that's my real money gone out of my checking account while the bank investigates it. But if someone skims my credit card, that's the bank's money on the line, not mine. The second reason is the housing market. I help people buy houses for a living, and in the real world, a 780 credit score makes your life so much easier than having no credit score at all. Can you buy a house with no credit score? Well, technically, yes, you can through something that's called manual underwriting. It is possible, but it is a bigger headache that limits which lenders you can work with. So here's my modified advice. Read the book, understand the real dangers, and be honest with yourself about who you are. If you can use a credit card exactly like a debit card, never spending a dollar you don't already have, then keep it. Build the credit and take the rewards. But the moment you catch yourself floating a balance, even one single time, then George is right. You should cut it up. So whether you decide to keep the cards or cut them up, this next part is where the rubber really meets the road, because the plan in the book is not sexy at all. There are no meme coins, no day trading, no secret hack to 10x your money by Thursday. It basically comes down to this. You get a written budget, you build a small starter emergency fund, you attack your consumer debt with everything you've got, and then you start investing and actually building wealth. It's pretty simple, and that's exactly the point. George argues that real wealth is built through boring, repeatable behavior, not one lucky break. And as someone who works in real estate, I see this play out in homeowners all the time. The people who end up in a position to buy a home usually aren't the ones with the highest incomes. They're the ones who stayed out of crazy car payments, never maxed out 5 credit cards, and saved consistently even when it wasn't very much. They weren't smarter with money than everyone else. They just weren't trapped by it. And this book gives you a step-by-step framework for getting out of that trap. You start by creating some margin, trimming the fluff, picking up the extra income wherever you can. Then you aim every extra dollar at your debt, knocking it out one account at a time. And once you're finally out, you take all that freed up money and you put it to work for your future instead of your past. It's not easy, but it's simple, and simple is exactly what most of us need. Okay, that's great, but you might be wondering, why am I so convinced that every young adult needs to read this? Well, that's because your 20s and early 30s are the most dangerous years of your entire financial life. And at the same time, they're the most powerful. They're dangerous because everyone out there is trying to sell you something. You don't have much money yet, but you suddenly have access to a ton of credit, and your brain is still wiring up what it thinks normal is supposed to look like. But they're also incredibly powerful, because 1 or 2 smart decisions right now can snowball into serious wealth down the road. You've got time for compound interest to actually work in your favor, and you've got time to recover from your mistakes, as long as you catch them early. That's why this book is really a wake-up call. You can keep doing what everyone else is doing, living on payments and debt, and telling yourself you'll figure it out later. Or you can decide to opt out of the game entirely. Get this stuff right in your 20s, and by the time you hit 35, you'll be so much further ahead than the average person, and it won't even be close. If you want to pick this book up, and to be clear, I really think that you should, there's a link down in the description. And if you've already read Breaking Free from Broke, do me a favor and drop your single biggest takeaway in the comments, because I'm really curious which part hit you the hardest. And make sure that you're subscribed to the channel if you care about money, real estate, and not staying broke forever. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.